Good morning, students. Today we will discuss about structure and function of ecosystem. Generally, the structure and function of ecosystem depends on various characters: species composition, stratification, trophic structure, standing crop, and standing state. So all these five characters determines a good structure of any ecosystem. The first one is species composition. Species composition, it is studied through identification and enumeration of plant and animal species. Yes, study and identification of plants and animals is called species composition. If large number of species present in a particular ecosystem, it means species composition is very high, and this species composition is differ from one ecosystem to another ecosystem. For example, tropical rainforests have highest species composition because the annual rainfall is very high, and in deserts species composition is absent. If present, it is very low. Next, second one is stratification. So what is stratification? It is a formation of vertical layers. It is the formation of vertical layers of plants in a forested area. It is the formation of vertical layers. It is the formation of vertical layers of various plant species in a one by one. So that process is known as stratification. It is the formation of vertical layers of various plant species in a forest area is known as stratification. And usually 5 to 7 strata usually developed in a forest area. So in this condition, so large trees and canopy trees, they occupies a top position, and shrubs occupies at middle position, and herbs usually they are at bottom position. And this formation of vertical layers of various plant species in a forest area is known as stratification. Usually stratification occur in tropical rainforest because here species composition is very high. When species composition is very high, then they have to form various layers. So stratification is absent in deserts. If present, it is very rare kind of stratification present in case of deserts. Next character is trophic structure. Every ecosystem has its own food chain and food web. For example, terrestrial ecosystem has its different kind of food system and food web, and aquatic ecosystem has different kind of food chain and food web. And next character is standing crop. So what is standing crop? It is the amount of biomass of all living organisms in the ecosystem. The total amount of biomass of all living organisms in the ecosystem is known as standing crop. And last one is standing state. It is the total amount of inorganic nutrients. Present in any time in an ecosystem is known as standing state. So standing crop, the amount of organic matter or the amount of biomass. Standing state, the amount of inorganic nutrients. And all these characters determines a very good structure of ecosystem. If any ecosystem maintains its equilibrium, then all these characters is must and should. And this ecosystem has 4 delicately interconnected functions. Any ecosystem, whether it is terrestrial, aquatic, or it is natural or man-made, or it is small size or large size ecosystem has 4 delicately interlinked functions, and these functions are functions of ecosystem. ecosystem has mainly four functions. Ecosystem has four functions: productivity, decomposition, energy flow, and nutrient cycling. So these are the four interconnected functions of ecosystem. So all these functions discussed one by one. The first function of ecosystem is productivity. So what is productivity? It is the rate of synthesis of energy containing biomass by any trophic level during a particular unit area. So during the given time period is known as productivity. The rate of synthesis of food material or it contain energy containing biomass by any one trophic level is known as productivity. And productivity, it is of two types. Productivity is classified into primary productivity and secondary productivity. Primary productivity and secondary productivity. First, primary productivity. So what is primary productivity? It is the energy accumulation. In producers. It is the energy accumulation in producers or energy accumulation in green plants. Through the process of photosynthesis per unit area in a given time period is known as primary productivity. It is the rate of synthesis of energy containing biomass, that is the total productivity. Total productivity again two types, primary and secondary. Primary productivity, it is the energy accumulation in only green plants through the process of photosynthesis. So during given time period is known as primary productivity. And this primary productivity again classified into two types: gross primary productivity and net primary productivity. Gross primary productivity. So what is the gross primary productivity? It is the total organic matter. Stored by producers. It is the total organic matter or is the total amount of biomass accumulated by producers per unit area in a given time period is known as gross primary productivity. And this productivity, gross primary productivity, includes weight of organisms. So weight of organisms usually known as biomass plus losses. So losses occurs due to respiration and grazing. Gross primary productivity includes weight of organisms, usually dry weight is preferred than fresh weight. And losses occurs during respiration and losses is due to grazing, and these two are collectively known as gross primary productivity. Net primary productivity. So what is net primary productivity? The total amount of organic matter stored by producers after losses is called net primary productivity. So gross primary productivity minus respiration. Gross primary productivity minus respiration is known as net primary productivity. So after losses, so how much of organic matter accumulated, that much of organic matter accumulated in producers, that is known as net primary productivity. This is the ultimate productivity by producer. Ultimate productivity stored in producers. GPP minus respiration equals to NP. So this is the primary productivity. Total energy accumulation in green plants. It is again GPP and NPP. GPP, the amount of biomass accumulated in producers. It includes rate of organisms and losses due to respiration and grazing. Net primary productivity, gross primary productivity minus respiration equals to net primary productivity. This is the primary productivity. So primary productivity two types, gross primary productivity and net primary productivity. So primary productivity, it occurs only at producers level, and second one is secondary productivity. So secondary productivity means it is the rate of synthesis of organic matter. It is the rate of synthesis of organic matter by consumers. So secondary productivity at consumer levels. Secondary productivity at consumer levels. And this secondary productivity usually depends upon energy, accumulate energy circulates from one trophic level plus losses. वन ट्रॉफिक लेवल में कितना एनर्जी ट्रांसफर करेगा, फिर उसका कितना लॉस करेगा. तो दैट टू कैरेक्टर्स डिटरमाइंस द अमाउंट ऑफ सेकेंडरी प्रोडक्टिविटी इन कंज्यूमर्स. द रेट ऑफ सिंथेसिस ऑफ ऑर्गेनिक मैटर बाय कंज्यूमर्स is known as secondary productivity, and secondary productivity depends on energy circulates from one trophic level plus losses occurs from next trophic level. That is called secondary productivity. So these are the two different types of productivity, and depending on the annual productivity, annual net productivity, ecosystems are divided into various categories. So they are also called levels of productivity. So levels of productivity usually depends on mainly plant species of a particular area. Next, availability of nutrients, then photosynthetic capacity of plant species, and soil type, etc. So some of these characters determines the determines the productivity of different ecosystem, and based on that amount of annual net productivity, ecosystems are mainly categorized into four types. First one is high productivity ecosystems. High productivity ecosystems. So in such ecosystems, the annual net productivity is 20 to 40 tons per hectare per year. In high productivity ecosystems, the annual net productivity is 20 to 40 tons per hectare per year, and usually tropical rainforests and coral reefs. So tropical rainforest and coral reefs, they are considered as high productivity ecosystem. The maximum productivity present in coral reefs. So after coral reefs, estuaries. So after estuaries, sugarcanes. So land ecosystem, tropical rainforest has maximum productivity. But in case of aquatic ecosystems, coral reefs, after coral reefs, estuaries, and after the sugarcane fields also. Sugarcane fields, it is a land ecosystem, but it also has maximum high productivity, because the sugarcane it has high photosynthetic efficiency. So that's why productivity is also very high. And second one is average productivity. Average productivity ecosystems. And in such ecosystems, the annual net productivity is 10 to 20 tons per hectare per year. If the annual net productivity is 10 to 20 tons, then the ecosystem is known as average productivity ecosystem. Usually common agricultural crops regarded as average productivity ecosystems. Next, less productivity ecosystem. Third one is less productivity ecosystem. So in this ecosystem, the annual net productivity is 2 to 10 tons per hectare per year. And this type of ecosystems usually grasslands and savannas. Grasslands and savannas are called less productivity ecosystems. And next, low productivity ecosystems. Low productivity ecosystems. In this ecosystem, the annual net productivity is only 2 tons per hectare per year. And usually certain deserts are regarded as low productivity ecosystem. So depending on annual net productivity, ecosystems are categorized into 4 types: high productivity, average productivity, less productivity, and low productivity ecosystems. And some of the factors influence the primary productivity. Factors influence primary productivity. Factors influence primary productivity. Some of the abiotic factors also influence the primary productivity of different ecosystems. The first one is light. First abiotic factor, that is light. So light is the source. Light is the source for photosynthesis. That's why generally polar regions receives very low amount of light. That's why productivity is very less. And equator regions or tropical regions receives maximum amount of light. The productivity levels are very high in case of tropical regions. And next is temperature. Next abiotic factor is temperature. Usually if you observe temperate forests, the productivity is very low because it has cold climatic conditions. If it has cold climatic conditions, then that productivity level is also automatically increases. If any ecosystem receives optimum range of temperature, then the productivity level goes very high. And next, amount of or availability of nutrients. So nutrients are required. Nutrients are very essential for growth of producers. Inorganic nutrients are very essential for growth of producers. If amount of producers are very high, then productivity is automatically very high. Next, photosynthetic capacity. Photosynthetic capacity also influence the primary productivity because, for example, C4 plants are categorized into C4 and C3. So earlier in class 11 already we discussed. C4 plants have more efficient than C3 plants in terms of photosynthesis. So C4 plants have more photosynthetic capacity than C3 plants. That means photosynthetic capacity is very high in C3 plant. So C4 plants it produce high amount of productivity than C3 plant. For one example, sugarcane plant is C4 plant. So it has high photosynthetic efficiency. So these are some of the abiotic factors which influence primary productivity.